Good evening, everyone. So today we are starting with monochromatic color composition. This will be a continuation of the color theory chapter that we have started in our last class. This is Shashwat here from Design Teenage, and everyone watching this class in form of a recording, make sure you follow these things in a slow manner. If because once you are watching this class as a recording, there will be few things that will be better in a one in a live class, which will not be that good in a like recorded lecture. So if you have any doubts, make sure you go through that thing once again before coming to a conclusion that whether you have understood or not. Because all these things, what we have over here, colors compositions and whatever is interlinked or how it's interlinked, what are the color compositions that we usually find and what is the outcome of that we get. So all these things are kind of pretty much something related with, you can tell, just give me a second, please. Okay, so let's continue now where we were that these color compositions or color schemes, how they are being achieved. What is the color if it mixes with something? So when as of now, so we have like these examples over here of monochromatic being okay. This is one color. Now, if you move ahead, followed by analogous, okay, how are they interlinked? Now, for example, when you are supposed to implement it somewhere and you are supposed to identify the color scheme, the problem that usually students do face is that you're not able to recall that color wheel in your mind and figure out that okay, are those three colors adjacent or are those three colors kind of apart from each other, what are like what and where are they located. So for this I will suggest you that you have a good look at this several times. You have a look at this and just try to draw a circle and mark out that okay, over here it's the red, and you understand the sorry, various tints which are there, right? You should have at least color pencils or crayons or something like that. Try to draw, like not draw this color scheme exactly in the same way, but mark out which are the different hues or different gradients and where are they located in the color wheel. So it helps you out in your upcoming process and days as well when you are supposed to identify a color scheme in any composition. Because over there neither you will have this nor you will have some colors which are very much like you can tell they are kind of interlinked with each other. They will be mixed up throughout the composition. You need to identify and come to a conclusion that which is the color scheme for the suitable suitable for this composition. So over here we have something monochromatic. Monochromatic is only one color, best for single subjects, atmospheric. Over here we have a few examples. So the name of the painter or the person who has made this composition and the name of that composition, the ambush is written over here. But moreover, you need to understand the look and feel of the composition, how with one simple color, the whole atmospheric thing has been achieved. Now over here we have another composition known as the forest fire. Just see with the use of red, the different shades, different volume and different saturation, how the whole composition has been achieved. So what happens in saturation is, as I mentioned earlier, that the dark quantity of red being achieved used over there is determined, and in volume the amount of red along with that, whether what kind of content, whether it's bright or less bright, this is what is being achieved. Now over here mostly, see, I cannot tell that there is like something related with saturation over here. Now see, it is used as saturation in terms of, for example, where there is a light red. If you are using a watercolor or any form of color which requires a brush or so, what you will do is you will mix that color with let's assume you are doing oil painting, then it's oil. You are doing watercolor, it will be water. So you will dilute the color, okay, and then you put it over there. So now definitely there is a use of different saturations which are supposed to be there. But over here at this point, I will tell that it's more of a tint and shade because you are drawing on a white sheet of paper. So that white color is getting mixed with this particular red to give that outcome to you. So over here we have a different color schemes which gives a sense of how that whole thing has been achieved also. Now the next thing, while we are moving on, we need to understand the analogous color. And the simple way to remember these things or to understand these things is what is analogous color scheme. Analogous color scheme is nothing but three adjacent colors. So any composition with three adjacent colors, they come under the analogous color scheme. Colors adjacent on the wheel, easy on eyes, peaceful, comfortable mood, seen in nature. So we have here some of the best paintings, which gives an example. Now see, at a glance, when you look at this, what kind of look and feel you get? You get the feeling of that, okay, this is a monochromatic composition.
Yes.
Right. So, that's why I told in the very early period itself that once you don't understand, try to go through this class once again. And for not for you guys, absolutely, that is for people watching and recording because you can ask the doubts after the class over here that okay, this is how it's being achieved. This might feel like monochromatic, but when you look in depth that okay, what are the different kinds of colors and so that are being used over here, you understand that there are three different colors. So for example, now let's assume you have one like blue over here. Now when you look at this particular shade, it is something else. And when you look at this particular point, it is something else. So see, now these things are very much depending upon your understanding when you go through several compositions or so, they become much more clear. Okay, over here again, a very simple composition from nature, which gives a pretty good understanding of analogous color scheme. And see anything from nature, okay, definitely depending upon the situation, where the picture has been clipped or so. If a normal picture like this is there, we usually see green, yellow, and blue. These are the three colors we are supposed to see. Now, definitely there is something like a dark black or so, that is again a tint or shade. So these three colors always will form now this is something to remember. So when you see a natural composition from nature with no altercations of the surrounding or the atmosphere, then you must come to a conclusion that okay, it is from the analogous color scheme. Okay, one of the other best examples for analogous color scheme for your understanding. And we have here now something as the triadic color scheme. So what is the triadic color scheme? We need to understand. Triadic color scheme are colors equally distant on the wheel, hard to pull out, best for cartoon or surreal scenes. Now, let's see some examples. For example, over here, the color composition or the color scheme which have been achieved are from the three different colors which are like kind of equally distant from each other. So in a color wheel, there will be three colors gap, which will come make this composition. So apart from triadic color scheme, what else is over here? Quickly, don't have much time. Apart from colors, triadic color scheme, what else is over here? Are you guys there? Yes.
Saturation of these colors only is used.
The very initial part of the class, I have told something. What are the colors used over here? Red, red, yellow, and blue. So what is it?
Primary color.
Yeah, these are just the primary colors. So it's a primary color scheme as well, alongside being this thing, a triadic color scheme. So might be there is a question wherein you're not finding triadic, but there is something as primary. So you need to identify that. Okay, now we have here a few other examples which determines the triadic color scheme in the color wheel. Over here now, next what we move on is complementary. So complementary is nothing but opposite colors. Now opposing colors on color wheel, very popular, naturally pleasing to eye, uses one color predominantly. Okay, now these are some of the examples which gives a pretty good understanding of okay how the complementary colors are being achieved, and these are usually used to show different two phases in a composition. For example, one side cruelty and evil. So two sets or two things which will be distant from each other, apart from each other, creating some contrast. In that case, we see that usually this color scheme is being used to achieve that. Now, not always also, I must say, because there are exceptions definitely. Okay. So over here again, we see a great example for your complementary color scheme. a few other examples over here. Go through them and have an understanding of how and where are these colors being used to achieve that. Okay. Now we have something as split complementary. Now again telling something like that radial balance, how I mentioned earlier, split complementary is not something like, which is really that important, but just for your information purpose or since it's available there, I mentioned it. So what is split complementary? Similar to complementary, but one end extended, more creative and freedom, feels lively and joyous. Okay. So split complementary is nothing but there will be one color opposite to which like there is another color which we consider it complementary. Now two adjacent colors of that opposite color will be considered, leaving that central figure. So that is what we consider as split complementary. Okay, here are some examples of split complementary over here. Just we will be scrolling through them to understand how it has been achieved. For example, this composition where you see that exact the use of those colors which we see in this color wheel and the different hues and shades that are to achieve this. Okay, now we have here some as tetradic double complementary. No need to go through. You can go through when we are having this PDF. I'll try to exclude it from this PDF because this is absolutely not something required for your exam. This is just for an information purpose. Okay, so we will just move over this. So just since we have come to this, what is it? Two pair of opposing colors. So pair of colors which are opposite to each other. Different best used for foreground, background. Never use 25% of each. So a composition having 25% of each of the colors, hard but pleasing. Okay, let's scroll through and come to the summary. So I guess, yeah. So over here we have come to an end of the different color schemes that we have. So saturation, don't overdo it. Best for highlighting areas of interest or telling story. Your use values of high contrast to draw attention. Use color harmonies for pleasing combinations. Monochromatic, one color. Analogous, adjacent colors. Triadic, equally distant colors. Complementary, opposing colors. Split complementary, one complementary and extended. Double complementary, two pair of opposing colors. This is what and all we have. Okay. Now, okay, we have something as color psychology. So let's quickly understand what is color psychology as telling the other day. So when we see, we get some sort of feeling, or as I have mentioned, just for a better explanation, that we use different colors in different places so that we get that kind of vibe or feel at that particular place. So yellow is usually for happy, creative. Now see, it's kind of joyful. Green is for fresh, lively, nature. Light blue. So there are different colors used for different purposes and how they are indicative of a particular thing. We will not read through all these particular texts over here. Let's move over to the next page and understand that. After that, we will understand through examples also, like how different colors are helping us in achieving different color values also. Carefully observe this chart and understand how and which domain are used according to their color brand identity and the value of the product and why they are using the color. So over here we have relaxed. Now as far as relaxed, we can see green, blue, purple, white. Over here value is high, chroma is low. Okay, so don't go through all these things. See the different kinds of colors that is used depending upon. So we have here some sort of feeling sensations over here. Okay, they're on depending upon which feel which are the colors that we can use. For example, over here we have something as let's go to this one, sincerity. Sincerity, we have yellow. Then we have brown. Sorry, not brown. We have this one, pink. Okay. Again, we have white. And like chroma and value, don't go for that. So these are the colors we usually use. And the different shades, if you want to ask for that, then I will say the basic color, the primary color with a normal saturation, what that color will look. Don't go for different values or different shade, how it will be. Okay. Now, there are few things which you need to understand in this process of learning. Just for example, without seeing anything, if you want to ask me, sir, tell me what are these colors or give a feel or so. For example, red is a sign of anger. Is it a sign of red is a sign of anxiety or something like, you can tell in terms of not only anger, red is also giving a symbolization of that, okay, there is a intensity. Okay. Yellow is something as joyful. Green is usually like, related with nature, liveliness. Blue is some blue, purple. These kind of colors are for relaxation, are for like, an ambient, a calm, soothing environment. Orange is again something for protective, or like, something as secure, strong, these kind of feelings. Pink is again very soft, very like, light, sincerity, very like, sturdy, very like kind of, if I have to talk about someone who is reliable. Brown will be kind of like, that rigidness, that force, or like, you can talk about brown in terms of something as closed, or something like, very much rigid. Just again the same word I will come. Black, it is kind of used in several purposes. Mostly we can talk about black as depressive, negativity. We will have to talk about black in terms of, for example, let's see what they have given over here. Something as excited they have given. Now, once I talk about black as excited, I will not go for that. Rather, I will tell that action and all these things, black is more dominant. White is the very first thing about when you see white, or like, when someone asks you about white, very first thing which should come to your mind is peace, calmness is all about white. Then like, apart rest of the things you can go through. Okay, we have a few questions or so over here. Let us skip them as of now. We are doing assignments also in class itself, and there is something I will let you guys. Okay, I guess all these things are, that's all about color theory, and whatever we have gone through about color theory, that's all about for today's class. Now, as I have discussed earlier, like, in today's class, the remaining part for the students live over here, what we are going to discuss is some things related with the design principles that we have discussed earlier, and few things which are kind of related with the design principles. We call them as your like, visual principles. So we will try to understand that. For example, in a picture, for example, radial balance, if you go through the PDF, which is available in your study material section, and your like, last lecture or so, you will understand that there is a depth or a sense of movement that you get. This is all what we were talking about in terms of visual principle. As of now, for today's class of color theory and like, color psychology, that's all about it. Make sure you go through the like, study material, listen to this lecture. If you have any doubts, let us know. We will surely try to help you with your doubts, and whatever is like, there you don't understand, we will try to have a lecture on that as well. That's all for this particular class. Thanks a lot. See you guys in the upcoming lecture, and make sure you go through this particular chapter one, not only once, more than once, or at least 2 times, to understand the topics in a more better way, and see different compositions. Try to get the feel out of that particular, or see, for example, you should go through a, this is for class students who are in class as well. See different compositions, and first, or like, go through a composition where you already know that, okay, this is the kind of feeling of that word. So for example, there is a fight going on, you already know this is a kind of tense scenario. Now see what is the color of, like, kind of like, color scheme or color composition being used. So then you will be able to identify and relate it. Okay, that's all guys. Thanks a lot. See you all in the upcoming class. Let's make sure that color theory and color composition, whatever, sorry, color theory and color psychology is better when you like, let's just understand this one thing. It's better only when you try to relate these things with your practical life experiences or so, then you get a better understanding of this. Okay, that's all guys. Thanks a lot.